City of Stevens Point Board of Park Commissioners meeting, recorded December 3, 2025.
All right, 6:30. Let's call the Board of Park Commissioners December 3rd, 2025 meeting to order.
Roll call.
Yes, sir.
Alder Bruddock's not here yet. Alder Boozy? Here. Freckman?
Here.
Disher?
Here.
Badusky? Here. Alder Kremer?
Here.
McDonald?
Here.
O'Connor?
Here.
Shabilsky?
Here.
Sorensen?
Here.
And Wynn.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 2, approval of the October 1st, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
All right. Any questions or comments regarding it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, Ordinance Amendment, Chapter 10, City Parks, Codification of existing park rules into permitted activities and prohibited uses at Bukolt Park Skatepark. Dan?
So in the agenda notes, you probably noticed, kind of covered it, but really what this item is we've had a series of rules. Really, there's not really much of any additions here, more than current situations like RC cars and things that we identify. But before, with the park rule situation, when we've had instances where someone's not following the rules, we did have one take place this year, not that long ago. It was discovered that there's really not a way to issue a citation or an ordinance when someone just won't adhere to the rules, because they're not codified or written up in ordinance. It'd be a loose affiliation through the Park Commission's ordinance that states from time to time other rules can be assigned by the Park Commissioner, your designee. So John Pearson reached out to me, kind of explained the situation that they had take place at the park. We reviewed the signage that's on the website as well as at the park and drafted up really an update to that. What it was, it's basically everything that's written there, as well as kind of the RC car and some of the more recent technology that's there. One element I did receive a phone call on that I do recommend a change to is right now it does state inline skates, and we had a question about what about quad skates. So, and I'm not great with this, but instead of just a straight row of wheels, you'd have kind of a double set of like 4 wheels side by side. So I would recommend to the Park Commission, and I know the Skate Park Committee, their former chair of the committee is supportive of this, the skate park group that uses the park is supportive of it, is that we would recommend approval of the ordinance with one addition, which would be adding the term quad skates right behind inline skates where it defines the permittable uses. Ultimately what this does again is it talks about the things that can damage the park, related to what shouldn't be there, what should be there, metal pegs, things of that nature, and really just simplifies if someone's there using it for other uses that we're able to protect really the primary usage of the facility while still allowing things like the skates and certain types of bicycles that can be in there. So with that, I can try to answer any questions I have. Otherwise, we do have John if somebody has a question for him directly, but we do recommend approval.
So like old school roller skates?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's, I'm pretty sure that's what quad skates are referred to, but that was the first time I ever heard them called that. I just assumed that's what.
Yeah.
I maybe I should look that up. But yes, they do, roller skaters do use the park, and they've been nothing great.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because that was actually my phone call because my wife's a retired roller derby and I've had my kids out there on their quad skates. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, was there a particular reason just inline was listed or are quad skates okay? So
John, do you mind coming to the podium? Otherwise,
Does it say my address and stuff?
no, you're good.
Okay. So the quad skates and roller skates are the same thing?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't have to look that up then. Yeah, and I appreciate the attention this is getting, and it clarifies things for officers who've responded because they don't, there were some, the regulations as posted were just a little bit vague and up to interpretation maybe, so some clarification on that will be welcome. So.
All right, any other questions? Yes, Liz?
I just had a question about the scooters. Are you just talking about the little push scooters? Those are not allowed or should not be allowed?
So scooters are a tough one because there's so many things that are called a scooter, and one of the things that's really scary are these things where kids lay on their stomachs and they're cruising around, like their faces are at like skateboard level, and those things were called scooters as well, and they seem like a terrible idea. Just putting your face down there by kind of all the action. So, yeah, they do a little bit of damage. I don't know what the exact. I can't remember the exact wording of that.
It states scooters, hoverboards, mountain bikes, and other non-permitted wheel devices are prohibited.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think you'd find many regular park users that would really be, the scooters will show up in huge numbers, and it's really like, it basically shuts the park down for any other users, which is unfortunate.
All right, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Because I'm in the green circle a lot, and I've seen like these, I don't know what you call them, they're like motorized skateboards, flying down the path. I assume those things are banned from the skateboard park,
Yeah.
right? Motorized, anything with a motorized?
I think those are technically scooters to the intent of it. Some of them have handles, some don't, like the hoverboards. That's what's listed right behind scooters. So if they don't have a handle, I believe they call them hoverboards if they are auto.
Or e-skates. But anything with a motor, I think, will be like a good umbrella for not off limits for the skate park.
Yeah, motorized vehicles is also covered here on the first
Okay.
item. So.
Okay.
All right, looking for a motion for approval?
So move with the inclusion of old-fashioned roller skates.
Second?
I'd second.
All right. Comments? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4, Ordinance Amendment, Chapter 10, City Parks, creation of 10.21 prohibiting sunflower seed usage at baseball and softball diamonds at Zenoff Park. Dan?
Yep, I just have one thing before I'll actually turn this over to Commissioner Disher, but one thing that's come up on this question is, if you read this ordinance as well, the intent here and kind of the letter of the ordinance, the way it's drafted in the packet, there's an exception. So basically, if someone is using sunflower seeds, they're pulling the bag of sunflower seeds or the sunflower seeds out in the dugout, about to consume it, that's what this is for, as an enforcement arm. The way this is written is that certainly there could be a warning issued, or that they could be told by coaches or the people at the park using it, but it states that it's an exception if they would have a fully sealed container and an unopened container. So another question that came in, which was a good one, was just, let's say a child forgets there's one in their bag that has been opened. Say they were using it on the concourse where it's okay, around like a garbage. It was in their backpack, or maybe a parent forgot to take it out. They set their bag inside, and for some reason they pull a bat out of their bag, a glove out of their bag, and this unsealed bag opens up, but they're not using it. There's no harm. The way this is written to the letter of this ordinance, that would technically be against ordinance. So the recommendation here that staff will have, based on the way it's written, if the commission's okay, is that we would strike the language that says that are fully sealed in an unopened container. So the exception would state, this section shall not apply to sunflower seeds that are not consumed or otherwise opened while in the dugouts or the infield area. So again, let's say they're in a Ziploc bag, or they're in a bag that's been opened, but they're not using them, and it's very clear that it's not illegal that they're in the backpack, if that makes sense. So other background just from the staff side is how this works for us to clean the turf is when there is sunflower seeds there, which happens regularly, it's really a hand cleanup job. We have a sweeper, but because of the way that the fibers are in the turf, they fall in between it. So our crew goes around with a pail and picks it up. And Commissioner Disher will tell you more. He's at the grounds more than I am. So it was kind of a conversation between himself, my crew, and myself, and then some conversation with the city attorney. But that's what this resulted in. So with that, I can turn it over to you, Matt, if you have anything else you'd like to add.
No, it mainly came up with, the rule's already there. This just adds a little bite to the rule, something that we can, for somebody that doesn't want to listen to it, we have an ordinance to point at. But I know the city does a very good job of keeping that turf clean, and they're very proud of when they keep it clean. And to come out there and see it covered in sunflower seeds after a weekend tournament, it just, so, and we are not we're probably the last place that has turf. There are ordinances in other cities that don't allow Powerade and Gatorade, anything but water on the field. So we're just trying to keep a simple maintenance issue, I think this comes down to help maintain it.
I think another thing here too, this is very similar. So this is a compliance measure. So, in talking with the SPSA and Matt and the others, it will still be a coaches and an association to say, you can't do that, right? That's step one. Step two, again, is to, say, hey, you really can't do that. Law enforcement's only going to be called upon when there is, really negligence here, right? Like we have someone that's basically saying, you can't stop me. That's the type of situation we have, or if we have teams that come from out of area or whatever that are just flat out unwilling to work with, our people that are running the leagues and the games that are down there. So I just want to mention, we don't want to penalize kids. It's not our goal, but it does give us the chance when there's an ordinance put on on it, that if someone is not complying, we can say, hey, then in this case, we can call somebody. That's really what this would result in.
I got a question. Sean, are you still with SPIBA by chance? Are you still?
No, just barely now.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you have any thoughts on how this is going to be communicated to both coaches and to teams? Because again, the last thing you want, I can understand having a coach be held accountable if it's continuous and flagrant. I don't want to see a kid get a ticket. But so what's the plan then? Or do you have
In
a
my
sense?
experience, coaches, a lot of the coaches of league teams are travel parents and things like that. They're used to these kind of rules in different places. So in my experience, I've been around for about a dozen years now. Coaches are pretty good with the turf.
Okay.
Like they're handling it already for the most part. It's like Commissioner Disher said, it's when you get somebody who's like, well, I know the rule, I'm just not going to follow it. Just be able to say, hey, it's actually an ordinance. Don't make us call a cop.
Right. No, that makes sense. And you said there is some consistency with other diamonds that are doing that.
Absolutely, especially as these turf complexes come up. Like we've been to tournaments where you can't have Gatorade in the dugout in the park. People are used to this at this point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Should have said we're all muted.
Sorry about that, Alder Shuda.
This is, could you explain what is this thing about sunflower seeds and baseball games? I mean, it doesn't say peanuts or anything like that.
I mean, if you wanted to get into it, you could probably put sunflowers or peanuts on here, right? I mean, a lot of it is, it's also something we don't sell at the park anymore. We don't sell sunflower seeds or peanuts there. Sunflower seeds are the one that everybody travels with and has. If it's a dirt infield, it's not a big deal. The problem is it's turf, and so it doesn't clean up very easily.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, this
just
will get
didn't
rid of most of it.
understand
It's still not going to stop the people that choose sunflower seeds outside the field, and the wind blows them on the field. But this will help, like I said, put a little bite into the rule that's already there. And for the most part, it gets followed. It's just some tournaments where, the rule, people just don't understand or don't care.
Also, sunflower seeds is really the go-to thing for kids a lot when they're playing baseball.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think, I've not seen bags of peanuts necessarily in dugouts, so it's pretty common that, I don't know why, it's like a baseball thing.
Why do people grill brats when they're tailgating?
Yeah,
And not,
exactly.
it's just what it is.
I never heard of it. I just thought this is really weird.
Last year, I think I understand the question. Back in the day, like baseball players used to have big wads of chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
And so and we're not encouraging that with 12-year-olds. So what happens is the seeds become a big wad. I know when my kids played baseball, we used to have a big wad of sunflower seeds because that's what it was. So it's a way for kids to look like a big league baseball player without actually having those terrible habits.
There you go. All right, any other comments? Being none, let's look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Is the motion to include approval with striking the fully sealed and unopened container?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That was Disher, and who seconded?
Win.
Jerry.
Great.
All right, all those favors say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, 2026 fees and charges for the Park and Rec Forestry Department. Dan?
Okay, so we do this, I think the last 3 years, we've always done this in December is where it's kind of fallen. So these, the fees in front of you are just showing the approved 2025 rate, which we are currently charging. The draft ultimately carries everything over, except we automatically, if you remember, we talked about this, I believe, 2 years ago, like charging for rentals of the fields and things where we are staffing them with full-time employees at an overtime rate. We automatically adjust those for the cost of living increase that we have in the pay plan for the city. So you'll see that for things like the turf or for the track and field, things of that nature, as well as for the Willet ice rental for games. The rest of it is set at the same rate. As director, I have not received direction to like a percentage of increase or anything from Treasury or from our Common Council thus far. So actually, this is the same way in my, I think, 7th round here with you, where ultimately I'm looking out the Park Commission if you'd like to see us increase anything else. The third column on this does show the last year in which we did do an increase. So with that, I can try to answer any questions, or I guess I'm just looking for direction from this board if you'd like to keep them the same, other than those wage increase items, or if there's any other areas you'd like to see increased.
I guess I would like to look at the boat rentals and maybe lodge rentals for non-residents. Maybe a $25 or $50 increase. It was been 23, so we're going on 3 years, so.
So our boat rentals right now, a resident boat slip, which is pretty much all we're renting. We don't have any non-resident boats. We do have a price for it, but we can still increase it. But our wait list is long enough. We've not had to go to a non-resident list. But right now they're at 700. So are you saying
$750.
Okay. How does everyone feel about that?
For resident, John?
Non-resident.
Residents, 800.
Right, but I'm only talking non-resident.
Non-resident is 800.
Into 850, correct.
Yeah, that shouldn't make really any difference on our side.
And
That's-
then non-resident lodge rental fee, 75 more, go up to 100. Assuming the rentals, I think we asked years ago.
We actually have it in the packet.
Yeah, it's
so,
broken
yep.
down.
Here's the spreadsheet for 2025 resident, non-resident for each one. So in case anyone else would like to know it, so for Bukolt, resident, non-resident in 2025, we ran 52% non-resident, 47 resident. At the All-Purpose Lodge, we ran 61% resident, 38% non-resident. Boy Scout Lodge was 59% resident, 41% non-resident. Girl Scout was 40 for resident, 60% non-resident. The Piffner Building, which is the busiest one, is 58% resident, and non-residents 42. So all lodges overall, we're running about just under 55% residents and 45% non-residents.
Propose making it up to $100 more from 75.
For rental.
For all lodges or just?
All lodges.
Okay.
So, yeah, how we apply the non-resident rate on the lodges right now is every non-resident gets that flat $75 on top of the rate for the rental. So if it goes from 75 to 100, it would be a $25 for the non-residents.
Okay, gotcha.
Resident rate would stay the same if you don't change the lodge fee itself.
I guess I would ask, is there any, do you guys see a lot of pushback from non-residents?
So we don't, believe it or not. A lot of our rentals are now online for lodges, pretty significant online. What we do have happen, full disclosure, is there will be phone calls to Emily up front, and sometimes when somebody learns on the phone that there's a non-resident rate, the reservation comes in underneath a resident's name, right? But ultimately, because it's GIS inventoried, so the person that registers their account off their address, that's how it's pinged. So there's really no way to stop it, that part. But as you can see by the numbers,
Yeah.
there is quite a few rentals. There's quite a bit of, if you actually look at the revenue, there's 102, fees that we collected last year that would be non-resident, so it doesn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like a lot of those things sound sort of 50-50, resident and non-resident, so it's obviously not all non-residents that are finding somebody in town to rent it for them.
Believe it or not, the biggest complaint we hear is from the boat slips. So I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying whenever there's an increase there, we hear it from everyone that comes in to pay for it. So the wait list, though, does not shrink.
Yeah.
How many are on the wait list?
We were running about a 10-year average because we were only turning over one or so, sometimes two a year. I would say it's probably closer to 7 years right now. Actual number, I'd be lying to you, but it's been taking about 10 years to get through where somebody's name comes up. What happens, though, so I should walk you through this. So if somebody waits that 10 years, their name comes up. What's really common is someone moves to Plover, Hull, and when we call them, we verify that their address is still a resident. Even if they're on the wait list, if they moved out of the city, they go to the other side of the list, we go to the next resident. So that's why I mentioned the non-resident fee, we certainly can increase it, but we rarely collect it. If you're a non-resident, the way the rules are written, if you're a resident, you get the slip. We don't take the slip away. So the only time we have a couple non-residents, it's because they've held on. But as soon as they give their slip back up, we just only give it to a resident. That's how it works.
All right. Any other comments or questions? I guess I'll make a motion to increase the lodge rentals from 75 to 100.
And also the non-resident boat slips from 800 to 850?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I got it. We're good.
Item number-
Question,
Yes, sir.
one thing. I see on the Zenoff practice, we weren't charging before to practice? Or how does that work?
So can I take that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so when the turf went in, we, just like the Gerke contracts, there was users, so school district is the primary, that did not contribute to the turf. So essentially, how this works is youth baseball, youth softball, Stevens Point Softball Association, and the YMCA contributed to the turf. So this is pre-me, it's Tom Schrader actually, I think, since he's here. The agreements were written up that those that pledged got to use the turf in a priority scheduling with no fee. Then because of the high cost, rather than charging like $80 to use that diamond or giving practice for $10 an hour, the fees were told to those groups if they didn't pledge, they were going to be significant. So now the school district's the primary payer for their softball program, as well as anyone that comes in and holds a neutral game. They are high, but they're offered annually when they come and rent it, that if they'd ever want to make a pledge like the other agreements, they'd go away. So that's why they were kind of set there.
Fair
And the
enough.
primary renters have actually been the Stevens Point School District. So.
All right, thank you. All right, number 6, request from Director Kremer to pursue permitting that would allow for future walking path along the Wisconsin River and Mead Park. Dan?
Okay, so this item is kind of coming for the first time before this board. It goes back long before my tenure with the city of Stevens Point, and we have a couple members here, I'm going to call them volunteers in the city, both John Jury and Tom Schrader, that are more familiar with this kind of originally the idea, but why it's here tonight is essentially, if you look on the screen, there's a lot of people that do walk along Mead Park, heading up to the gravel kind of dike walking area that goes along kind of the floodway of the Wisconsin River. There's kind of like you can almost call it a cattle path of people that often will walk this, but it's all grass. There's no trail. The actual sidewalk network and things that go into Mead Park due to the floodways and the way this is laid out from the cash improvements are kind of tucked in closer to the woods and go around by the playground. So this concept goes back a long time of, similar to the Piffner Trail, could this walking path be improved, the view to the river be opened up? Also, an unofficial measurement shows that if you'd ever walk from the Bukolt Lodge down the river path, cross the bridge, come over to here, turn around, go back, it'd be a perfect 3.1 miles for potential 5Ks along the river, things of that nature. So this idea was talked about plenty of times through the years, but why it never really got legs is that we don't have the rights of the floodway here of the water, so Consolidated Water Power Company does, and we work with them for recreational rights on their licensing with their federal regulations. There's a whole bunch of layers to that. But what we learned through some other projects they have going on is that currently they believe this would be a worthwhile project that they could permit. So if we can't permit it, it doesn't pay to go down this road ever. Today, we don't have any money scheduled or ready for budgeting or to build this. So I'm not asking the commission tonight to say, let's build this trail. What I did want to ask you all is if you think this idea is worthwhile enough that we would proceed to try to get the permitting and approvals to be able to build it someday. If we do get that in line, then at that point, we can decide through volunteer help, fundraising, whatever we decide to do, city involvement, maybe this could be a nice addition to our park system and some more trail network. How we would work this permitting side is we would have to do a few drawings. We would handle that internally with kind of the volunteers as well as, what we have available to us for some of the things we work with Rattler. We believe we can pull that off, and then QIPCO would go through the review, and we certainly would be coming back to you if we get the permit and what it would look like. But the idea here would be a similar trail to what Piffner is. So that's what I can share of what I know of it. The last time I really was able to discuss this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. There's been some changeover on the QIPCO side since, and then some work they're doing to their fishing pier potentially in the city is what led us to have this discussion just a few weeks ago. So I'm here to ask the questions I can. There's certainly John and Tom if there's questions for them, but I guess I wanted to ask Park Commission, what do you think of this concept, and are you comfortable if we would go forward and try to see if we can get some permits in line?
Comments, questions?
I guess I'm just curious where the end point is. There's a dog beach somewhere in there too. Does that trail go up to the dog beach?
I think the idea would be to probably go around it now.
Okay.
But I think the hopeful would be to have an asphalt trail that would come from the Clark Street connection, be able to walk through the whole park on the edge, and then likely go around the dog park.
But that's actually value added for somebody that's walking a dog and decides they can take the dog for a walk and then for a swim or vice versa. So I wanted to make sure that trail could provide additional access to that beach.
Yeah.
Okay. Good question. Anybody else? Bob?
Yeah, I think, one of the problems throughout the state of Wisconsin has always been protection of the edge of the water. And I've said a lot of times, I think it's the #1 environmental crime in Wisconsin is all of the lakes, rivers, everything, mowed down to the edge, eroding, no natural vegetation protecting anything. So when you put in the trail, you have a great opportunity. #1 is to keep people walking in an area that you can manage rather than trails developing all over the place. But the other in the process to make sure that we try to maintain wherever possible some natural vegetation. Sure. And so, I mean, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with putting this in, but it would be a great shame not to do it right.
Sure.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Mr. Jury, Ms. Schrader, have any comments or anything to add to it? Yeah, thanks.
Full disclosure, I'm a holster, so Tom threw me off the park board many years ago when I moved 4/10 of a mile out of town. I think the key here is that in the past we've had Quipco real estate people who have been more strict. And we have someone now who's actually friendly. And part of the contract that Quipco has with the state of Wisconsin is that they need to at least be concerned about recreational opportunities along the river. So I think all of a sudden, I think the person who's in that role now is actually friendly and encouraging, and has made it clear that he would be helpful in getting us the permitting, as opposed to being. But just. Actually, I was at university a long time, but I'm really just an old, frustrated physical education teacher. And I've always thought that if we could get that 5K or that 1.5 miles, it would be paved. It would be perfect for kids with strollers. It would be good for seniors. It would be good for the disabled. And everybody likes to be close to the water. And so this would be by the water for 5 kilometers. And if you would just entertain me just for a second, you would pass a baseball stadium, a Little League diamond, 2 beaches, 1 for dogs, an art gallery, 3 playgrounds, including the cache, 3 bathrooms, an entry note to the downtown, which would be about 1 block, cultural commons, the band shell, 3 pavilions of different sizes, a horseshoe pit, outdoor basketball, pickleball, and of course the 8/10 of the trail would be on the Green Circle Trail, which is 24 miles around town. So this is, it's real close to the gathering place of the community, and we're not, before we would ever talk about a trail, I think we would be talking. Yeah, that would be a separate issue. All we're doing tonight is to get your permission to get the permitting done while we think the time is maybe right, and so that we could come back at some other time maybe and talk about a bigger idea.
Thanks, John. Any other questions?
I do. John, I guess a question for you from a Green Circle standpoint. Is there a way, it seems like an opportunity to maybe loop this back to the Green Circle in some way, shape, or form down the road? Or is the thought that this would be kind of a dead end?
Well, at the worst, I would see the trail over in the west side as being an entry node to the Green Circle, connection to the Green Circle. We have quite a few entry nodes, now for different places. And okay. I would mention too that what we would call the dog beach, there's parking over there too. And then the other thing from there is we have permission, I think, from Quipco. A lot of people walk their dogs, and it's another 1.5 miles, so it's really closer to 10 kilometers from Bukolt out to the final gate and back for people who just want to have a long walk or run or whatever.
And one more thing too, Commissioner Sorensen, you can actually walk around their gate and walk that gravel, the dike. Yeah. So essentially, instead of dead ending, in the park it would stop, but it would connect right to, I'm going to zoom on the map up here, if you wanted to walk further up the river, people do this already, they park in this little parking area, and they walk, if you can see this on the map. They walk this stretch. So in theory, while the Green Circle West Side Loop goes south, someone wanted to just stay on this southern side of the water, or western side of the water, I guess. You can actually walk that all the way out if you wanted to. So they have to turn around and come back, but it does not, it wouldn't dead end, it would just butt up to right where Quipco's. It's kind of a road dike for maintenance, but people walk it frequent.
To the north end, I walk out there quite a bit, and I don't think Quipco has any regulations on leashes. So the people who, maybe playing with their dog and stuff in the parks have been one thing, but a lot of dogs are off leash and everybody seems to get along well.
Sounds good. Thank you. Are you looking for, go ahead.
Yeah, ask Tom if you want to.
Tom?
Tom Schrader, 1825 Miller Court. It's been a while. I'd just like to say, thank you for at least looking into this and getting this moving along. We worked on it for a while in the past, and it kind of got put on hold, and now I see it's coming back, which is great. This will be a huge asset for the west side and everybody in the city, so this will be good to move forward. Hopefully we can get the permit and work on putting the trail in there. So thank you. Good seeing everybody.
Thanks, Tom.
Whole night to come, though.
Are you looking for a motion, or?
Yeah, that'd be great. If you just a motion to move forward with the permit would be wonderful.
I would make a motion to move forward with pursuing permitting. And I guess I'm just really, I'm just really excited about the possibility of this project and the opportunity, and I think there's a lot of room for fundraising in this, and I think Commissioner Freckman's point about erosion prevention is a good point to make, and I know along the Piffner stretch, just past the Piffner building, Wildlands has some native plantings and stuff, so I think that could easily be incorporated or preserved while still allowing access and, being in the nature and along the riverfront, a really, really pretty setting, so.
That's good. Thanks, Ginger. All right, we have a motion and a second.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
I'll second.
This.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7, 2025 year of Donald Copps Municipal Pool Review, presented by the Rec Supervisor, Gregg Trudell.
Good evening, everybody. Like John said, I'm Gregg Trudell, Rec Supervisor for the Parks Department. It's my first time speaking at these meetings, so kind of a little nervous, but here we go.
Greg, there's going to be about a 20-second delay here, just 1 second here.
Got it.
It always takes a bit. I don't know why, but it does.
And you made me follow up Tom, so all task.
Okay, all yours, Greg.
All right, so you can go to the next slide right away. I think Ann took that picture off the top of the Willet one day. 11 weeks is pretty standard for the pool season, so I was right on par with last year. Something we did last year that we didn't do this year was open it up before school got done. And those couple days we didn't have much for attendance. I think it was also cold as well. So we went back to the normal starting the last day of school. It ran until August 17th, and then we did our dog swim like we did the last 3 seasons. It seemed to be a cool and rainy season in comparison to last summer, which we'll see later on in the slideshow. Visitors were down from last year. Saves were down as well, and then we did have an increase in fecal incidents. I don't know why, but we were at least able to contain those, so we didn't have to shut down the pool for a lengthy period of time, which was good. Overall, it was a good season, shorter than previous year, but seemed to be on par with 2023. We did have 21 occasions where it was thunderstorms or cooler temps, and again, that affected lap swim. Overall, just opening for the day or making it, doesn't make sense to open up for a couple hours. So, all right. So going on staff training, we do 1 staff training per month is what we shoot for. I try to strategize what we're covering. Obviously, I want to do like the major topics early in the summer and not doing them at the end of the year. So what I mean by that is like the first one in June, we're doing you can see in the picture, we're doing the head, neck, spine, extraction out of the water, save out of the water. And then obviously the paramedics would be there at that time, but our guards obviously have to handle everything prior to that. That's a big one. Another one we did, which is newer, that I've never done in the past, were actual scenarios. We had to have our staff as like the angry customers or a disgruntled customer, so it made it kind of awkward. But without bringing in actual, community members to do that, I think it was a good step to try to see how successful we were and what we would do in a situation like that. And then the last one, we did like a Guard Olympics kind of thing. Overall, everything is obviously water and aquatic oriented, and something that they are going to experience when they're on the job or, later in the future in their careers. But I also want to make it fun, because these kids will find an excuse to back out of these trainings. But I think it's important that we work as a team and learn as a team to make sure that we can have the best summers possible and safest summer. And then another thing too, which was new this year, was we have to do a yearly CPR AED recertification. Luckily, we were able to do it through the fire department here in town, so we didn't have to spend money on that. But again, it's a yearly thing now, and it's just good that everyone's getting a refresher on how to save somebody if obviously they go into or if they need CPR. So that was a new thing too. Looking at the numbers here a little bit, paid admissions were down from 2024 and 23. Private rentals went way up. That was good to see. Season pass holders are down from previous years, and total visitors are down, but they're on par with 2023. Again, I think this comes from the cooler and rainier summer. And it is an imperfect system. Dan touched on it with the lodge rentals. With like for a family, if you have family pass, if you have 5 or 6 people in the family, you're only checking in that family pass one time, even though maybe the family has 5 people that are bringing in 5 people. So those numbers look deceiving on that. But again, I think overall, with the rainy, cooler summer of the 21 days that we had, I think that's why the numbers show that. So.
21 days you were closed because of the weather?
Of some fashion, yeah.
Okay.
Whether it be we close early, didn't open right away, or the whole day. Yep. And then these are our sponsors, again, for this summer, our community free swims, which we would do on Saturdays or Sundays. I think we did one on a Friday night, maybe because of weather, but that's pretty on par with what we've done in the past years. We've had some new ones, we've had some returners drop out, but for the most part, the number is steady and the big ones are still there. So those are always a big hit. Significant repairs that we had completed. We had a slide pool leak. The drain box in the deepest part of the pool, they replastered that. And we actually had to fill our slide pool less, so that helped on costs for that. We had a new baby pool pump installed because the one prior to faulted out, and then we couldn't replace it. It was outdated. We had to get a totally new one, so there's some new plumbing with that. And then we got the last 2 or 3 sections of our water slide had to get recoated. Looking at new repairs for 2026, there's a skimmer box. So there's 3 skimmer boxes in the baby pool. One of them is crumbling apart. We'll have our subcontractor look at that and repair that. It shouldn't be super expensive. And then we have some gutter painting we're going to do. We're going to do that in-house. We've had patchwork painting done over the years, and I think cosmetically it's just going to look much better if it's all one uniform color, and it's been faded by the sun and whatnot. And then we have some pump house stairs to repair in the main pump house. I just noticed the other day. It's like a metal grading system, and then within the grading system there's concrete, and the metal had rusted off and broke off, and I'm assuming it's because of all the fumes from the chemicals in the building, and then the concrete started falling apart. So we got to look at that. As far as the budget goes, we're budgeted to lose $121,000 and some odd dollars. This summer we had but lost $112,000 for a difference of, almost $8,900. So I think with the weather playing a factor, chemical usage with not having to fill the slide pool as much, things like that would be the reasoning for that difference in money. Rates and fees, 2022 was the last year of increase in emission, and nothing is planned for 2026. Chemical expenses, they didn't increase in price, but we spent $1,000 less. Again, I think with not opening as much and then not filling the slide pool as much. Staffing, we had a large staff, but just how the summer goes with kids' availability and then sports starting in August and vacations, everything like that, I overhire, knowing that things are going to happen. But it turned out well, and we didn't have any issues in terms of opening because of staff. And I didn't have to step in and be a guard either, so that was good. Capital projects, there are no capital projects for the pool or there were no capital projects in 2025, and I don't believe there are any in 2026 either. And that's all I got.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you. Questions from the commissioners? All right. Thank you very much. Director's report.
Okay, I just have a couple small items real quick. First and foremost, we did have an opening, a park technician at the KB Willett Arena. We have hired Baxter Arndt. He began here on December 1st, just the other day. So we'll be pulling that training off and onboarding here. Really, it's a 12-month process to go through all the seasons. But we're back to full staff for full-timers, which is wonderful. The Plover River Crossing project, probably all saw, there was a groundbreaking. We actually had a construction meeting this morning. There'll be tree clearing, especially on the oak trees, happening between now and the first of the year. And then the way this is going to come together, essentially, is the bridge is likely going to be coming in earlier, so it might be as early as May 1st. They're going to let them into the water to start set things. When the bridge gets set, they'll start building boardwalk backwards towards Ben's Lane. So there's a lot of time here where the good news is the way the contracts and everything fell, everything's being ordered and procured, and we should be well on par for September 1. So again, you'll see some of those larger oaks that are, especially on the Ben's Lane or the Hoffmeister side, because the crane is so large coming in on that roadway, there's it's going to be a wide area where there's some clearing right along the Rogers Park entrance, and then we'll end up planting back after it's done. But because of the span of how long that bridge is and the pure size of the crane, that's all there. But if you go down there now, you'll see flags and stuff on the trees that they have going, and again, you'll see this start to take shape here soon. I just want to let the park commissioners know, the non-alders, that our budgets are approved for 2026. So on the capital side, we don't have anything large other than the press box is carrying over. If you remember, we awarded it last year. It was a 25 budget, but it's being done in 26, so that'll start in May as well. As soon as track ends, that'll get torn apart and ready for football. We do have some tuck pointing, which is already being worked on at the Piffner building. There's a bridge in Iverson where the wall abutment was actually almost ready to tip over into the water. That's being worked on too. Since it's been approved, that'll be completed for next year. And then there's a number of equipment items related to mowers, trucks, things of that nature, kind of ball diamond equipment. So capital budget, we've been very fortunate in the Parks Department with our fleet manager and things of being able to keep equipment updated. And we do have a series of projects that'll be pretty visible, even though it seems like a light project year, but there's quite a bit coming. So the thing I'll tell you is with the winter weather setting in like it is, if you drive by Gerke, you're gonna see us flooding ice rinks already. So that rink we started at, it looks like the extended forecast here is gonna stay below freezing. So if it trajects the way it is, we might be open next weekend already on rinks. And then we've been trucking snow. I won't put the pressure on the crew too much, but same thing, we wanna be open for Christmas break, which we believe will be no issue, or the holiday break, but it might be quite a bit sooner. So Paul has been interviewing and getting our winter staff people in. Orientations next week. As soon as the snow is suitable, which we have a lot of clean snow from this last snowfall, and the Public Works trucks a bunch there. We hope to get some updates out next week on that. So I think this will be my 7th winter. This will be the second or third time it would be this early if we can make it work. So again, the 10-day forecast looks great. We'll see what it looks like on the 20th of December. But kudos to the crew for kind of adjusting to the cold weather. And the ice rinks, I think, are going to be very busy this year with all the extra attention they got through the summer. So that's all I have for the director's report.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from commissioners? Otherwise, entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right, thank you.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.